Okay, guys, I found it. Time to make this video to clarify, well, some aspects of the indicators. So let's start with a chart. Let's close everything. So we look at each other. Let's do things right. So just give me a second. Let's remove everything like this. We'll go through them one by one and clarify our ideas. Perfect. Here we go. Well, what you're seeing here is the classic indicator, the one for setting levels. Do you have the slots? To be able to insert the string, you can choose the color, the style. If you want it dotted or you want it with a solid thickness, you can choose where to move the label. There's the writing. And well, you can put various ones, as you can see. So, well, they then appear on the graph. Here you see this is for the NASDAQ where I inserted the weekly and daily strings. In short, and they are prepared on the graph in the colors, in short, that you have selected. Let's move on to VLC. VLC is the indicator that basically allows you to color the candles. This is a volume candlestick chart, so that's why you see smaller candles and some thicker ones in addition. On top of that, there's this indicator that colors the candles in light blue for the when they are downtrends, which have a certain amount of volume within them. And instead, in yellow for uptrends, when they have a certain amount of volume within them. So you can find the setup file for the different assets on my Discord channel. And here, well, this is the level to insert. So you put it in here. These are the settings for the 5 minutes. Of course, as I always say. All right, BC3. So the indicator, well, you need to change the dates to have them plotted on the chart. The levels, well, in which certain, all right, they form at specific times, and so they draw lines on the chart. As you know, I've uploaded two. Here is what I consider the previous day. You see there's the date of the 5th. Today is the 6th. I start with the midnight level, then the one for 9 a.m., which is the opening time for the European markets, then the opening of the American markets and the closing of the American markets. Okay, and here it is. And you can see that I'm already all set up. Wait, let's clear the levels, otherwise it gets messy. Here it is. You see these 4 additional levels. Then I uploaded another one, which is this one that has today's levels, meaning I start from midnight, so midnight. Then there's the level, since the opening and closing levels for the American markets aren't there yet. I just put in, well, the Asian opening, the closing, the European opening. And well, I have this one that I still won't see formatted on the chart because the American opening will form. Okay, and we're going to visualize it. Here I have other levels on the chart, which are in this part here, as you can see. So, as they have clearly defined, well, the entire nighttime part from which the movement then started, they are therefore absolutely valid. They are valid as references, as supports, as resistances, as targets, as areas to identify the previous day, so the context of the current day, and it will help us identify the range in which we can comfortably work until it gets violated, like what's happening. Maybe in this case it was violated, there was a test. Again, a test, again down. At this point, it's likely that we'll abandon the area and look for a balance area, which will probably form at the opening of the American market. Okay. Having seen these other two, let's move on to the KSP, which is another one of the levels as a setting level. It needs to. There's the accompanying file where to insert here. So the volume levels that I've identified to try to capture these patterns that I'm interested in. Here you put 288 because on the 5-minute chart, otherwise it won't be able to catch you. So more boss. And the indicator gives an error like thickness. So you can put whatever you want, the usual thing for the color. And these are the lines you see here that have appeared. Maybe now we'll remove the BC3 so we can see them better. Okay, and these are lines you see. So how did it stop here? So this level that was created yesterday, actually no, Wednesday. How did it stop at this level? Like here it has defined the high, in short the area of the highs, in short the area where it then occurred. Anyway, this landing and this sideways movement after the nice rise, so absolutely valid. You can also easily use these as supports and resistances as levels to place a stop, like a target. So there are definitely many valid ways to do this. Okay, these will remain plotted on the chart for 48 hours, after which they disappear and are updated later. Otherwise, we would have a chart too cluttered with lines, which risks confusing us instead of helping. Okay, let's remove this KSP and let's take a look. What is happening right now, it needs to be fine-tuned a bit. I have to work on it a little because it was originally calibrated for volume levels that we had, in short, of a certain type. But as I mentioned, even in the morning briefing, the regime has changed a bit recently. That's why indicators that are based on volumes all need to be recalibrated based on what they are. The current volumes developed. In short, the patterns that in the end I'm interested in capturing. Basically, this indicator gives us either a continuation of the movement, like in this case, or it points out areas where the market reacts in the opposite way. That's why it's called KSP, precisely because I want to try to identify swing points. As I always tell you, they are not indicators that give us an absolute signal, but they are all indicators that align with the strategy. So they help you with your decisions when applying my strategy. Okay. So as for the settings, there's also a file running here. So there are various settings now. So as I mentioned to you in the chat, I changed this, I communicated it in the chat. For example, going past 40 for the NASDAQ, doubling it, because, well, the volumes have increased. Everyone can also choose colors here, and these levels you can choose how to, well, maybe you can play around with them a bit. The way to do the calculation. So depending on the true range, and you'll see that the perspectives change a little bit. You can go and change a little bit the length and the repetition of the curve in question. And this will determine different results. So the settings I found are the ones that were working pretty well until recently. But at this moment, well, they're struggling a little bit. Well, to introduce myself, precisely because they go outside the parameters that the algorithm has set with the parameters I had found. So everything needs to be recalibrated, recalculated, more than just refurbished. Okay. Having said that, I wanted to take a moment to go back. So those that are free for all users in the chat of the Discord channel, this is the trend reversal. It's another one of those indicators that can be very useful because it gives us a little indication with this green line. The level at which this median line, which is in orange, crosses and goes above. We can see that there is potential at this point. Thank you. There's a reversal happening, so you can see a change in direction that you might take advantage of, maybe to support your decision. Because there was a level here, I identified the pattern. I entered for a change in direction. Plus, I have the trend reversal supporting my decision, and maybe psychologically I can feel more at ease in making my choice. This is an indicator to which parameters need to be applied. In short, these are the ones in the file that you always find. On Discord, these other parameters should be kept fixed at the moment. So these are the ones you need to adjust. In short, I mean setting the volume, which is indicated in the file, Then note on top of that we have the PV, which is the percentile volumes, is quite simple and intuitive. It practically tells us where the largest volumes are developed in a percentile scale, so not in absolute value compared to the previous bar, but right, compared to a measured historical series. And so it gives us the percentile value of the volumes developed in relation to this measured series. It's quite intuitive, the darker colors. Then there's the correct file, but I don't think there's a need for any special explanations for this. Yeah, another one I wanted to show you, which we often overlook, is the pips acceleration. I'm mentioning this a bit for the newcomers. This is an indicator that should always be set with the volumes you find at the end of the strings. And that I provide, you see here today for the NASDAQ, I've set 100,000 because that's the value to set. I asked the indicator to also show me the levels at 3.4 and 5.8 R, and it basically captures these volumes and, it tracks them for me, you see, with this line. In this case, I chose the light blue color. Okay. And on top of that, it goes and tracks on the chart in this case, because I chose to have it track for me 3, 4, 5. So 5 levels of ATR. It's going to track from this level. So according to the algorithm, the projections of 5 ATR levels, which are absolutely valid, can definitely be used for trading, to think of stops as targets, as objectives. So everything together can be corrected. Those in light blue are, accelerations that should, how much is it from? They are upward, while those in red are, downward. The ATR level, of course, are in green, which are the levels going up, and red for the levels going down. And these are the ones from these that you see marked on the chart are those data from this acceleration that you see up here. So we went, we didn't even reach the first ATR level, you see. So once it took it, we went down. Why the test? Because I chose to plot 5 levels of ATR because we are in volatile conditions. High, because usually, we keep them. I can keep 23 plotted to get an idea, but since, as I said, increased a lot. The volatility, of course, but we can increase it so we can have additional levels at our disposal. In addition to this, I also wanted to make a reference to the linear anchor. This is also, absolutely valid because, this was created at the beginning. So we launched the channel just to help those who wanted to follow Pochettino's indications on how, he could follow the market's direction and so on. And so this can definitely be useful. Do you see how it took off? Well, maybe initially it wasn't that steep. The channel was a channel, but as it went on, it always aligned with the 100,000 that I, have to at the end of the string. As a level, as an additional volume measurement value to insert, it takes this linear regression and, all the movement that's accompanying it. The red color indicates that the channel is quite bearish. The line is solid because when it starts to weaken, it becomes towards the end, dashed. So it signals that the channel is coming to an end, and then another one will emerge that might give direction and indicate to us. So what is this? What movement, what direction is the price taking? The price through, linear regression, that it's here that the regression essentially creates a line that tries to interpolate the largest number of possible points in the distribution of these random points. So based on this, it gets connected and it's automatically drawn, which definitely helps us identify what the current trend is. And so we can accompany it with the levels and with all the others indicators that I showed you, and they're all here. I forgot to show you the GPS, but that too. So there's the accompanying file. The GPS shows us these three levels on the chart. Let's take a look at the yellow, the red, and it should be there. Here it is. The yellow and green are almost overlapping at this moment, representing the flip point like the target, and the red the low target. The volume pressure basically indicates the pressure that the volume is exerting on the price at that moment, and it helps us identify the market phase. So the movement has been accompanied. So the indicator, now you see it's a light pink because there isn't much pressure, but when there's strong pressure, it turns red. In this case, because the pressure is negative. In the case where there is positive pressure, it turns color, gradually turns green. And in short, it helps us to identify whether the movement that we want follow is accompanied by volume and can help us in our decisions. Plus, it provides us with the flip point levels, understood as a level where the price can reach, can turn, and therefore can be easily rejected. And then there are the high targets and the low targets. They come when they are then reached. In short, the indicator here in the table is colored in blue to indicate precisely this thing. I think I've mentioned all of them. So I did a quick recap, a little bit on how to use them, how to take advantage of them, and how I understand them. I, as you know, never understand them as something that gives me a clear and exclusive signal, but they are all current because it is the core of my strategy. What remains are the levels, their composition, their distribution, and their distribution on the chart. Then there will be the videos of the Clip Academy that I still haven't decided how to provide, honestly. I will probably provide it for free. And night. So I'll help you understand A through. So maybe because you bought the book, how much have you been reading about it? How can we go about combining everything like the logic? So how are they placed? And so these levels, how to take advantage of them, how to get the complete picture, also using the indicators. So I created some on my own and others with the help of many capable collaborators that you know very well, like Mark Erebus, but also others like Tridoracle and Lord Khan, who really helped me a lot well at the beginning of the development of some indicators, provided their versions for the levels. So it's definitely a growing chat, and I'm very, very happy about that. With this, I say goodbye. We'll catch up in the chat, of course, and I invite you, as always, to leave a like on the video and to follow me on social media.